I say? Just kind of.
Enemy in the container.
Oh well. Thank you for pretty much confirming what I just said.
Right now, I restarted somewhere in Minnesota. It's cold. It's like negative 18 degrees outside right now.
80s pop funk.
My first job was on Madden 20.
Well, great afternoon again. Thanks so much for reaching out and for having me. I'm Dr. Bernadette Lawson Williams. I'm the founder and advisor of the Esports and Gaming Trifecta at Johnson C. Smith University, a private, historically Black university located in Charlotte, North Carolina. I also am a professor of sport management, a gamer mom, as well as a former gamer girl from the 80s. But for the most part, my role really is unlimited. I wear many hats, caps, name it. And so for me, our trifecta consists of an esports and gaming management academic program, as well as an esports lab, a game development club, and an esports club, and also a certificate program. And so we're loaded. We're all about esports and gaming. And for me, the opportunities are unlimited. So it's a big deal for me coming from a gamer girl, standpoint. I'm always an advocate, but I'm always making sure that I'm a proponent for esports and gaming academia. So not just playing video games, but gaining an understanding of the career opportunities that exist within the industry. I think that's probably where I'm a little bit more unique in that way. Most of my colleagues are gamers, so they're avid gamers every day. I live vicariously through my gamer twin. So, for now, that's my type of gaming. I am a gamer from a standpoint of mobile gaming. I play a lot of word games, but as far as I used to be Miss Pac-Man, Asteroid, Donkey Kong. Back in the day.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you, like, kind of what did you play as you were kind of growing up, and kind of what kind of led you into this kind of world, kind of that we're leading into now, with basically it's kind of wide open at this point.
That's right. Well, my brother and I were gaming opponents for most of the time, and so for me, it was a bonding opportunity. He's 4 years older than I am. And so, we came up with this policy that, siblings always have something going on behind the scenes. And for us, it had a lot to do with whoever got home from school, had completed their homework and their chores, could get on the Atari, first. And that was the person who could actually choose the game that we were going to play. And so, I was blessed and fortunate to walk fast from school, get home, get my homework completed, get my chores done. And I was usually leaning towards Pac-Man. And so, he just had to fall in as it was. And so I think that's where my fondness for gaming really started. And of course, naturally, when I got married and had kids, and then my kids started gaming at about 4 or 5 years old, and really their interaction with our cousins, younger cousins who were gaming at that time, is what really would help them to find their passion in gaming. And so then, of course, it became, locating Xboxes, and now trying to make sure, we get access to the games. And so they're 12 years old now, so they've been in the game literally for 8 years.
And you're kind of in a unique position. You're kind of seeing like kind of the things that are kind of on the cusp of coming up now. You kind of have that experience of what you kind of experience. So kind of like talk about that as far as like in your field when it comes to that education, and like, because I would imagine, I mean, even when I was a kid, like it was more of, you playing the game, it's, you playing the video game too much, or you doing this and that. But now people are thinking about it business wise, and sort of thinking of all these different avenues that you can go. And I mean, you can actually have a career path and, kind of still enjoying playing these games and stuff like that. So kind of talk about your unique kind of like point of view from that, as kind of we transition into this I guess, VR world and, you know, mobile gaming and all of this different type stuff.
Yes, for me, you know, of course, like I said, having the unique experience of having been a gamer and now watching them grow and really flourish. And you're talking about, I remember taking my son to a Smash Brothers tournament.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they weren't really familiar with Smash Brothers. It was always Madden, NBA 2K, you know, Call of Duty. And so I was very impressed to see my sons just get in there and learn the game and actually become competitive in the game. Mm-hmm. And they were competing against, you know, grown men.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, you know. And so, you know, for me, it's all about, you know, this is the educator, you know, speaking, you know, the transferability of certain skill sets that you learn. So, you know, for me, I would think about, okay, he took the initiative, not only just, you know, mom, you know, I want to play. So you guys want to actually compete? This is actually a tournament. Mm-hmm. Do you know how to play? You never, we'll learn. They just got in there and learning as they were going. And as I pulled the gentleman aside, once they finished the match, I said, he picks up very quickly. And so I thought about, wow, versatility, you know, adaptability, flexibility, you know, all of the soft skills I speak to my college students about every day and make sure that I infuse into their, you know, assignments and projects, you know, and he's demonstrating this now. And at that time, I believe they were about 8 years old. So I said, he's demonstrating this now. And so I've become the parent advocate. And so I was just visiting my god family down in Jacksonville, Florida this past weekend. And my godsons were gaming. You know, they just got the new Nintendo Switch. There's a sports game that they have. It's kind of like Wii Sports. Oh, okay. But, you know, it's not called that. But we were in there bowling, and I thought, okay, this is literally esports. Now we're really, you know, we're always talking about the convergence of traditional sports and, you know, electronic sports, but now we're getting physical. So I said, oh, I love that the physicality is returning back to it. So they were playing badminton, tennis, bowling, and I just love that, you know, they were getting into it, but also getting the physical activity that I think, you know, has been missing, at least from the standpoint of most traditional sports advocates. That's what makes esports, you know, to them something they just really can't connect with. They're like, you have to get out there, use your large muscle groups. I want to see your legs moving. And I said, well, you know, we have the fine motor skills down, you know, the dexterity, and I always try to advocate eye-hand coordination. They were like, no, I want to see legs kicking. And so now I'm proud to share with them, you can play this game and actually see some legs kicking, and you know that. So it just turned a light bulb on in my mind that maybe we will consider ordering this for our Esports Lab. So you know, it's just all about connectivity. You know, from my standpoint, you know, even I talk about the business side of esports. For me, I will not allow my children to consume a video game if they can't invest in that company. And so we are an Xbox family, a Microsoft family. So I'm like, look, you know, well, right now we haven't purchased stock in Sony, so we won't be getting the PS5. You know, now we'll get it for the Esports Lab and that kind of thing. I said, no. You know, we purchased stock in the Activision.
You know, I'm kind of like that too, because see, I'm a Sony guy and I do have Sony stock. And so I have a PS5. So I mean,
if you're going to consume the product, then you need to invest. I'm like, you know, put that money back in your wallet. So I said, you know, we can go Activision Blizzard. We purchased some stock in that. I said, you know, you all love Call of Duty. I said, you know, I mean, this is just the way. And so, you know, I definitely make sure that for every aspect of our students coming into the Trifecta, you know, whether they're engaging in esports, gaming development, from a recreational standpoint, or from an esports competitively, or you know, if they're thinking about a career in esports and gaming, you know, we're always promoting and pushing out the content, but connecting that content. I said, you guys have an advantage within the esports and gaming industry because you're gamers or you're developing games on your own, and so to now be able to apply for a job and not have to say, well, you know, I had to take this course, and I said, but you're taking some courses because there are, you know, a lot of our esports and gaming management students are also computer science majors, computer engineering majors. I said, you know, even though we also had some business administration majors, some sport management majors, I love the fact that there are just, you know, innumerable opportunities for all of our students to experience success and the industry, you know, no matter, you know, what their background looks like. And so because they have that desire for gaming, you know, that's really the central point in the crux of them actually, you know, being successful. And so we forged partnerships with, world leading esports companies like Riot Games, working with EA Sports, just to name a few, and a few partnerships, hopefully I'll be able to share with you within the next few months or so. They haven't been announced yet. We're just working out, some of the intricacies, but, for us, it's about having fun. It's about our students really realizing their potential and also understanding that I understand, I'm cognizant that parents often think that you are absolutely wasting your time,
right?
Being on the commit, and I've talked to, my best friend about that. I'm like, let them play, so one of her sons tickled me the last time I saw them. He was like, we'll be able to play, but we won't ever become really good. And I said, why is that? He said, because mom doesn't let us play enough. She just kind of snickered to the side. I said, now, I'm sitting here giving you this. She's like, it's going to take some time for her to be able to connect those dots. I said, it's nothing but STEM and STEAM. Everything you see, you look at that pure STEAM here, And so, I'm working on her. I'm working on her. My job is not done. I have my hands full, but I'm working on
so kind of talk about that a little bit, like, as especially like in HBCUs and stuff, kind of getting these sort of programs and stuff, kind of, getting the dollars to, be able to kind of create these labs and these type of things. Like, kind of talk about that, like also kind of, as these sort of things kind of develop, you also kind of got to get these parents on board to say, hey, I'm going to let my child go to school to be able to actually play video games. Like, I mean, it really does, that kind of disconnect is always kind of there. So kind of talk about kind of bridging that gap and also kind of helping that transition along.
Yes. Well, I also have to lead with the fact that we are the first HBCU to get into the esports and gaming space, in a formal way. So we are the first HBCU to boast not only in esports and gaming trifecta, but we were the first to actually institute an academic program in esports and gaming management, as well as the first to institute an Esports Lab. And it's been amazing. I think most parents had that perception about their students or their children wasting their time in video gaming. But once you can sit down and speak with them and show them the success, show them, on paper, mom and dad, here you go, and we've done Zoom calls with some of the students on board, having conversations with the parents, and I'm talking to the parents and they're talking to the kids or the prospective students. But when you show the parents, we've had 5 students who were granted Riot Games internships. Something they're like, Riot Games, that sounds like something that's going to cause trouble. No. Riot Games is one of the leading esports and gaming organizations globally.
Right.
We're not talking about just in the States. We're talking about globally. And you can break it down. Okay, I know that, some parents haven't heard of this. A lot of the parents I find, which I think is cool, have heard of Fortnite. That's probably because of the way that Fortnite really found a way to infiltrate pop culture.
Right.
They were doing some of the dances that, parents my age are familiar with. So they were like, okay, I know the Fortnite. I don't really understand what's going on. I said, well, again, your children, you sit down with them and have a conversation. I said, that's how that connection really forms. I said, most of these games are cross-generational to some extent, just from an understanding of, if you ever played a Pac-Man and Miss Pac-Man, if you didn't play, your cousins played, or your brother or your sister, somebody played. Because if we're looking at the numbers now, and the numbers are telling us that 97% of all US households have at least one gamer in it. So we know somebody in your household is probably gaming. Even if it's mom or dad who were just on their phone doing, Candy Crush, or, word game, okay, that's the parents, so let's go to the kids. So somebody is doing some type of video game, or someone who's gaming.
And I don't think some of these people are thinking about how much money is actually within the video game industry. I mean, it's one of the biggest industries in the world. I mean,
it is. I mean, it outranks even, the movie industry. When I speak about those numbers,
music industry too, I believe.
So you're talking about multi-billion dollars, and I clarified, not millions, not 100,000, billions. And so they're looking like, how? I say, okay, well, we break down, everything from you look at the quality of these games, and then you look at the fact that, there are individuals with the organization that contribute to every aspect of this game and how it looks, even from designing, how these particular characters look, these avatars. And I just think it's so amazing. I said, your creative kids, we need them.
Right.
And so
And,
we
and
try
some
to
of these kids are sort of like they're starting to learn how to code and do all this type of
yes,
stuff like early. So
you got it.
with
And I love it.
all of this different stuff that is at their disposal, and most of it is basically in the public space. You don't
That's
even
right.
really have to go far. All you gotta do is hit the internet.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and I mean, think about it. Esports and gaming is really the only industry where you have the employees who are already being trained, since they were little,
Right.
already being trained in, the technical aspect, understanding, the industry. And then when they get to this point, here they are, high school students, college students, they're hungry. They want more.
Right.
I want more. I've been playing this game, you guys, pretty much, you don't want to say addicted, because
Right.
that's usually, associated with something negative.
Right.
But to that degree, you can't really think of too many industries where individuals who have already been in that path and have already been doing training almost daily based upon, the stats that we're seeing, those individuals playing video games weekly or daily. And
Right.
so, from that standpoint, when I share that with parents, they can't even really respond. There's nothing to refute.
Right.
I'm like, can you think of any other industry? And so they're quiet for a little bit, like, trying to think of, okay, I would love to just say something so that she won't be right, because certainly I don't want my kids to look like, that video game playing,
Right.
Now, of course, we know that everything should be done within moderation. So you certainly wouldn't want your child playing from 7 a.m. when they wake up until midnight, and they will try it. I know for my kids, I'm like, okay, guys, we have to cut it. Let's go out and have some fun. Go out kayak, something where you're actually, a little bit more physically active in terms of, your large muscle groups. I come from a physical education background, so I'm like, I can argue both ends now, and
Right.
that's exciting for me that I can, advocate on one end, but then I can also see where my traditional sport enthusiasts are coming from.
Roundabout kind of close it out, kind of explain, kind of talk about like the things that you're doing now into the future, like kind of what you're excited about as far as getting things in your lab, kind of new things that you kind of got coming, kind of just talk about like, what you're excited for the future, and kind of like what does it look like for you and the school and all of that different type of stuff here over the next couple of years.
Absolutely. Well, the opportunities are unlimited. You're talking about from the time our program was implemented in 2020, our program grew over 200%. So, we're talking about the numbers, and that's where, from an academic standpoint, your administrators always want to make sure that you have students, not just in the club, because we have over 50 members in our club, and that's just Esports Club. We have about 15 members within our game development club, but we have about 20 students in our Esports and Gaming academic program, and so we're very proud of that particular accomplishment. Also, we were named the 2021 Esports Collegiate Award, so we were nominated for that. Just 2 weeks ago, the NBA 2K League team for the Charlotte Hornets, which is called the Hornets Venom, came in our Esports Lab and actually had a scrimmage against our NBA 2K team.
Oh, okay.
So that was phenomenal. Yeah. I mean, we kicked off Easter weekend, right? Yeah. And so, those are the types of opportunities, partnerships, and community collaborations that I think we're most proud of, because they're impactful. So it isn't just about Johnson C. Smith University. It's about showing companies that, this is going to be the path of future success for all colleges, K through 12. We had the Secretary of Education, the U.S. Secretary of Education, Dr. Miguel Cardona, actually visited our Esports Lab last July. And so we really had the opportunity to advocate on a national level. Since he is the head honcho for education in the U.S., we had the opportunity to advocate on a national level about K through 20 esports programming. And so that was a proud moment. And so those are the types of opportunities that are taking us into the future. And so that is what we're going to be looking forward to, those extended conversations. And so that conversation started last year, those conversations continuing, and then more conversations with corporations like